Welcome back to the channel. So, picking up where we left off from the last session, we anticipated, well, we had certain models that we were looking for, but before we get into the continuation of the event, so hopefully you're getting value from this backtesting playlist, if you will, and sort of creating scenarios in your mind and documenting them down in terms of how you can improve your trading based on identifying times of when you shouldn't be engaged in the market. Now, again, I always preface this by saying everybody's models are different. So some people will have a higher frequency of engagement versus others. And that is fine. But one of the things that I wanted to showcase is true backtesting, not the click, 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 stuff you see on social media, on YouTube and so forth, but actually proper thorough testing of models and, questioning certain things and why you're not doing other things and stuff like that. Backtesting has to be a close simulation of live action. The difference between backtesting and live is that you can set the parameters. You can set the parameters of what you're aiming to test, which is highly important, right? Bear with me. And it's important to do that because then it gives you first-hand knowledge on the different scenarios and how you react to different scenarios. And that in itself is important. So they often refer to this style of backtesting, if you will, or practice or training, however you want to phrase it, as I believe three-dimensional training. And there's a lot of benefits to that. And I think it's important to foster that. There's a fantastic book called Accelerated Excellence, and it talks a lot about how one can improve through the principles of three-dimensional training, which ultimately focuses on perception, deciding and executing. The power of constraints, setting different types of constraints in order to determine how you perform in certain things and identify improvements and so on and so forth. So there's so many things, independent development plans and so on. A really good book, one I urge people to read. But the point being is this backtesting process should be as close to a simulation of live as possible. So it shouldn't be a case of let's just click through, finish a day, and then move on to the next, and then we do that. No, you need to really understand and identify what the current environment is looking like, as you would in a live environment, and then determine and decipher what exactly is going to be your game plan heading into the day. If you've noticed, in terms of my trading style, is I form game plans, and then will go and ultimately execute against that. That's how I like to trade. Other people like to trade in terms of how they feel in the market. I'm not one of those. I'm very rule-based, mechanical. That's my style, my approach. So hopefully you're seeing that within this playlist, this backtesting of 2022 futures. And hopefully it's delivering some value to yourselves as well. And if it is, like I say, don't ask for much, but if you wouldn't mind just hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel. But anyway, let's continue on. Let's continue on. Okay, so one thing I want to observe, which I didn't, is this. So we're going to get rid of that now. We know it delivered 2R. However, if we just enlarge this here, we have this small fair value gap here. Or do we? No, I don't think we do actually, sorry. Tell lie. But we have the fair value gap here on YM. So if we look, yeah, between here and sugars. Excuse me, that between here and here, we can see. So let's just go down to the 5 minute. It wouldn't have been obvious because of the lack of a fair value gap on the lack of a fair value gap on ES. So let's have a little look. I don't think it would necessarily have formed a model for me. No, I don't think it would have done, but yeah. Anyway, let's continue. So we are at 10:44. Kind of cut it a bit early because we saw that it had delivered 2R. So as per the rules. So in terms of game plans now, if we hit the previous day's high, we could see a reversal. I'm not necessarily thinking about that. Again, if we had an hourly 78.50, yeah, if we had an hourly fair value gap moving higher. So what we're going to do is just play on the 5 minute, and we're going to stay on the hourly. Oh, bugger. Um, hmm. I don't think we can frame a I think that's going to a high time frame target. Be surprised if it times that. So we okay, even though I've pressed pause. So we're in the lunch period now. If we just drop back out. It's almost, excuse me, at the upside target. Excuse me as I'm having a stretch. What would 2R look like? Guess it could work, but I'll tell you why I'm not doing it. Let's just venture back out. Look at YM. So yes, this could all move higher, but with YM purging that high, the aligned high as well, no thanks, then this may start to form. So we're going to drop down to the 15. Actually, not going to drop down to the 15. Okay. I do anticipate either one of NQ or ES to purge the high. I do actually anticipate that, but you know. Okay, so it's the lunch period anyway, so we're not looking to engage in any trade. And if we just go back to the 5 minute, and to be honest, this was outside of our trade execution window, so not looking to engage in that. So let's so we've got a potential, so we're just going to draw. Okay, so that's just to give us a guide that potentially something exists. Have a look at the 5 minute. Actually starts there. that's a really okay. Right, okay. So a bit of intention here, however. Okay, it's not. I'm not getting the view yet that. However, we do have the. So this candle is still going. That's potentially. Well, right, okay. Let's get our fingers back on the pulse here. So we're looking at this here. Which hasn't yet been confirmed on ES. But has been confirmed on NQ. So let's just drop this to the 1 minute. Okay. So no confirmation there. Sorry, apologies. Hit the microphone. Monitors are all turning off. So I wanted to see a close below here on 15 minute. We didn't see it. We saw it on NQ. Haven't seen it on ES yet. So that is indicating to me that we're still potentially going to see higher prices. And ES could well purge, but let's have a look. We want to see a oh, okay. Okay. Well, that changes a lot of things. Right, so hold on. Maybe I should line these up better. I might be a bit slow to the proverbial party now. This is during lunch. Okay, right, so that's that. Let's get some things in check. Okay. No. So we're fine. So now if we go to the, we had that respect. I am looking at this as a short sell. Now let's just see where the H4 inflection is. It's actually quite far down. Be here. Okay, so let's just have a look and see what we've got. The one thing I don't like, and why I'm probably not going to take this trade, is I'm not seeing a H1. Let's have a look. What's the high? 39.75. So it's just slightly short of it. I wanted to see a H1 purge on all three. That is a non-negotiable. That is a non-negotiable. So the fact that I haven't seen anything here would really reduce the probability of this. We do have an M15 purge here, and this has purged obviously that liquidity pool there, which is key. I would have liked to have seen a purge of liquidity. Let's have a look on. So that's obviously taken the previous day's high, which is fine. This has taken this level, which is fine. ES hasn't taken out anything outside of this level here. But the framework in itself up here doesn't look too bad with the two SMTs and so on. Just one other thing to just to check. Okay. So, I mean, to me, when I look at, for instance, at NQ appears primed to trade lower. We've now got the displacement here, which has been respected. But ES, for me, I have rules, and the rules are the rules, so I am staying out of the ES trade. Even if it goes to TP, I'm staying out of the ES trade. So let's have a look. However, if NQ was to trade back up to here, ES goes and purges this high. Well, that could be interesting. But what's the time? 1:15. Ideally want to take a trade around 2 o'clock, but let's see. Could be completely wrong and it melts. It looks like it's going lower, doesn't it? We'll see. So it's come back to retest that level again. Came back, retest. We should see a move lower. I mean, looking at both assets, it does tend to lend, and especially the fact that the market closed below this inversion shows a level of intent to want to trade lower. But like I said, I'm not getting involved. What time is it now? It is 2 o'clock. So if we wanted to engage, it would have been at this candle here. But again, I had no H1 purge, which is a shame. But this level, this here could well be a target. Okay. Well, let's continue. Oh, look at what we have here. And this is why I say all the time to follow the rules. This is why. I'd mentioned how I'd wanted to see one of them purge the previous day, so between ES and NQ. And the reason why I wasn't getting into the trade was because there was no H1 liquidity purge in close proximity. Therefore, no trade. Now, if we just sort of go out a second and we look at this, it's 12 o'clock, so we have a okay. So there we go. I'll put that in there. Oh, we've only been going for 29 minutes. It feels significantly longer. Right, I'm going to take these SMT levels out. Not needed for now. And I don't want them to act as a distraction. Drop that down to the M15. I'm just going to drop this to the 1 minute. Let's see what we have. It's a shallow purge, but I think NQ is going to purge that high as well. There it has. Okay, so looks to me yeah, it looks to me it was higher prices from this. From there. And yes, there is SMT there, and yes, there is a potential trade idea. What candle was that? Yeah, the 2 o'clock candle. So we wouldn't have had. Well, let's have a look. Would we? Yeah, we potentially have had a retest on this candle here, getting long. Yeah, with the M15 liquidity purge as well. So, yeah, justifiably maintaining the long framework, but I didn't like the fact that this had purged the high already, because that could have set the wheels in motion for lower prices. Although I didn't personally like lower prices because there wasn't a H1 liquidity purge. So all that would have meant is that I would have just stayed out of the market. If the move had gone without me, it's gone without me. Not really that bothered. I know that my setup will come, and when it does, I'll be on hand to take advantage of it. So just to recap, the reason why I didn't take shorts was because there was no H1 liquidity purge on ES. I like to see a purge of H1 liquidity pool. The reason why I wasn't in the long was because of the SMT at the highs above the previous day's high. This could have retraced significantly lower. I was happy to not be part of that retracement because it didn't meet my model. It just so happens that price traded down into this BISI, found support and traded higher. And that's fair enough. It just wasn't a trade that well, I mean, it's a tough one. It's a tough one in terms of going longer because, yes, we had the SMT here, but the market was clearly showing signs of wanting to go higher, especially on ES. And it would have given us the character signatures to do that. And I was anticipating either one of NQ or ES, and in this case both, to purge the previous day's high. So unfortunately, we could classify this here as a potential mistrade. It did form within the 2 o'clock window. I'm probably, again, I'm trying to avoid trading the PM session, but if something forms, then why not? I'm probably going to set my trade execution window for the PM session between 2 and 3, so this would have met that criteria. We also had M15 liquidity pool purges here, and then obviously, if I recall, M15, M15 liquidity purge is key. Then we had the M5 order block. We probably had the N5 fair value gap, a tiny fair value gap in there, but we've also got the M5 inversion fair value gap there, which found support. So we had a number of confluences there. Take that trade, and yeah, we probably could have framed to our higher. So yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough pill. That's a real technical trade. One of the things that's difficult is it's the trade-off between simulated and live is the fact that it is quite hard to stop unless I click every candle, which I may do just because you have a bit more control than when you hit the play button. So I may do that. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to keep this one really short. So this is just for the PM session. Market's obviously traded up into here. I'm just going to venture out to the 4 hour. Let's just see if we got anything that we wish to potentially. So I'm not holding on to the shorts now because I do think we're going to see higher prices, especially when you look at YM. I do think we're going to see higher prices. So I'm not holding on to shorts. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm not holding on to the shorts because I'm not. Oh, sorry. Getting myself in a bit of a pickle here. Yeah, because NQ has made a real shallow run above that high, so I'm anticipating a deeper run, and that deeper run is going to take it into the CB. So I am anticipating further higher prices, but let's play through the remainder of the day. It's too late for me to take a trade now anyway, so. Expecting NQ to trade up into there as well, but we'll see. And that would be the end of the day. So there we are. Potential mistrade, but overall managed to stay out of the market where I felt that the reversals were not the high probability play. But in saying that, that's where we sort of missed out on the longs to the previous day's high, which could have been a nice little trade to have had. So slightly disappointing there, but we live and we learn. Something that I'm going to document down as a price action observation. The important to, in fact, I'm going to do it now just so you guys understand the kind of things that I do. So just taking notes. Oh, my keyboard is doing the usual. So why does this thing constantly do this? So price action observation, important to, oh God, bear with me. This is horrible. My keyboard is just printing characters galore. Let me just turn it off a second. Come on, keyboard. Let's get back on track. Okay, let's try again. Important. No, it's not. To annotate all H1 imbalances. And monitor for high probability. Oh my God. High probability setup to high time frame objective. Okay. We'll just add, I don't know, especially if reversal is low probability. Okay, that will do. So that's just something for me. So I'm essentially saying, that if the reversal's low probability, it's important for me to annotate the H1 imbalances because that could represent an opportunity to, for a continuation. Something else I'm going to add to that is, for example, if YM purges the previous day's high and I anticipate either ES or NQ to purge its high, then a continuation trade is highly likely from an H1 imbalance. Okay, so I'm going to leave this one here. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Probably many of you now probably understanding a bit of how I trade, probably said, there's the longs, the longs, the long. Point taken. So I'm going to leave it here. Again, if you enjoy the content, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys in the next one.